As in the Python programming video lectures, today we are going to discuss about console input and output. So console input output means taking the input from the console or from the keyboard and printing the output on console or screen. That is the meaning of console input and output. For that purpose, we have different inbuilt functions in Python. So one of the function is for inputting is input function for taking the input from the keyboard. For printing message on the screen, print is the function in Python. So now we are going to discuss about these input-output functions along with formatted printing. So these are the concepts for today. So next we will move on to console input-output. The print function. Print function is used to print the output on screen. So console or screen both are same. So to print the output on console, we use the print function. So this print function can print integers, it can print string, it can print float, it can print anything, or objects also it can print on screen. So that is about the print function. So this is a built-in function. The print function has the following. See, this is the syntax of the print function. Syntax of the print function. So print, parenthesis open, and then objects. What are the objects you want to print? You have to pass those objects, comma, separator, space between the objects, separator, and end equal to backslash. By default, separator is empty space, and by default, line of the end is backslash. It indicates after printing the objects in a line, and then it goes to the next line automatically. That is the meaning of the backslash. So end of the line is backslash file equal to sys.stdout. Stdout is a standard library, output library, which includes all these printing functions and supporting functionality for this print function, and flush equal to false. This is nothing but we are flushing out the standard input output streams, so that it works properly. So that is the syntax of the print function. Print function accepts the objects to print on the console, and then by default separator is space, single space, and end of the character of the print function is backslash n. So this backslash n indicates automatically the next line printing, the next print comes to the next line automatically. That is about the backslash n, and file equals sys.stdout. So this sys.stdout means the print function is available in standard standard input and output libraries. So that indicates that sys.stdout and flush. So flushing the strings. So this is the syntax for the print function. In this, end and separator, by default separator is a space, and by default end is a backslash. If you want, you can change. So no need to maintain separator as a space or end backslash. We can change those things. So here a small example: print a comma b comma c comma separator equal to comma and end equal to heart symbol or exclamation symbol we have given. The output comes like this: prints after each value. So when you execute this print, it prints like this: a comma b comma c, like this, because here we have given a separator as a comma, and end it ends with this symbol. So like that it prints. And next, if you see print another example, print a comma b comma c separator equal to, we have given 3 dots and end equal to hash symbol. So it gives output like this: a dot 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 b dot 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 c, and then hash. Like this it prints. So this is how we can change the separator and end while printing. So if we do not provide anything to separator and end, it takes by default values, that is space. It prints by default ABC like this, and next cursor comes to the next line. So next line, if you use the print function, then it starts printing here. So by default, this one is a by default behavior. This one is by default behavior. Okay. If you want to change, you can change separator and end. Values for the separator and value for the end. These are the parameters. For these parameters, we can change in the print function based on the parameters what we provided. So those values will be replaced by the replace the default values. So this is the example how to use the print. For example, if you want to print, we can use like this print 5. It prints 5 automatically. Print, you can also execute some operations, arithmetic operations also. Print 5 plus 6, it prints 11. Like that you can use print. So print parenthesis, in parenthesis, what are the objects you want to print, you can pass those objects. If there are multiple objects, a comma separated objects can be passed. That is how you can use the print function for printing output on the screen. Next we will see some more examples. The print text and numbers. Next we will move on to the some more details. Just how we have seen how to print by using the print function and using the separator parameter and end parameter. Now we will examine some more examples. So with the text and numbers, print with text and numbers. It means printing text using a print function and printing numbers using a print function. How to use a print function. See here, if you want to pass a print, if you want to print a string or a sentence by using the print, you can print. So how to pass that string or a sentence as a parameter to the print function, you have to enclose that string or a sentence with either single quotes or double quotes or triple quotes. So we can use anything. So here I am printing hello world, print hello world. So when I am printing hello world is a sentence here. So this sentence I am passing in single quotes. So same in another example, see here, in this print I am passing hello there is a string or a sentence. This sentence I am passing in double quotes. Both the things are correct. There is nothing wrong in that. You can enclose the string to be printed or the sentence to be printed in either single quotes or double quotes. But in the case of numbers, you no need to mention. You no need to enclose the numbers in any single quotes or double quotes. You can pass directly the numbers into the as a parameters to the print function. See the number here, print number. Directly I am passing number 10. Print of 10 like this. You can pass like this. So in the case of a string or a sentence or a characters, we have to enclose those characters or strings or sentences either in single quotes or in double quotes. But in case of numbers, you no need to enclose those numbers in either single quotes or in double quotes. Not required. So this is the difference you need to observe while using the print for text and numbers. Okay, either for printing strings you can use either single quotes or double quotes. It is your wish. Okay, but in some languages like C, Java, definitely you have to use single quotes or double quotes in a particular situation like that will be there. You need to remember that properly while using the printf functions. But in Python, it is not the case. You can use either single quotes or double quotes. There's no problem at all. It accepts. Okay. And here some of the examples I have given. We can also perform arithmetic operations directly in the print function. See here, print 1 plus 2. It prints 3. It prints 4. It prints 12. It prints 3. Like that, you can print 1 plus 2. Print 9 minus 5. Print 3 into 4. Print 6 by 2. Like that, you can perform all the arithmetic operators. It provides the output. So nothing wrong in that. It accepts like that. It also performs the arithmetic operations directly while executing those arguments. So that is how these are the examples for that. And even we can concatenate or combine string and numbers. So sometimes it is required to display string and numbers combinedly. So such operations also we can use by using the print function. Print function can concatenate both strings and numbers. See here, this is the example how I am printing. So print The answer to the ultimate question of life is 42. So the answer to the ultimate question of life is a string. That's what I enclosed that string, that sentence in double quotes. This is one object. And next, put a comma, and then 42 is number. It is number. That's what I didn't enclose in any quotes, either single quotes or double quotes. Now it displays the output like the answer to the ultimate question of life is 42. It prints like this. This is the output. This is the output for this print function. So this is how we can use the print function. We can print strings, we can print numbers, we can combine or concatenate strings and numbers based on our requirement. So whatever the arguments you are passing, by following the rules and regulations of the print function, it displays those objects or values on the screen. That is the print function functionality. And here in these examples, directly we are passing values, whether it is a string, sentence, or number, or some arithmetic operations, or concatenation of the strings or numbers. All these things we directly pass the values or data to the print function for printing. So print function can also be used for printing containers. Containers means variables. So a variable in memory contains values or data. So we can also pass those variables or containers to the print function for printing the output. See here an example. MSC is a variable message. So I assigned hello world to the MSC. So now I am passing print MSC. This print MSC outputs hello world. Okay. So here MSC is the container. MSG is the container or variable. Both are same. Container or MSC is the container or variable. So I declared MSC and I assigned hello world string or sentence to the MSC, and I am passing that MSC as a parameter or argument to the print function. Now that print function prints hello world statement. This is how you can use the print function for printing containers also. We can also pass the containers for printing the data processing in the containers. We can also use the print function for printing. And next, see, not only simple containers, we can also print complex data containers also. Complex data objects or complex data containers or complex data variables, those also we can pass as a parameters to the print function to print output. Here see, I have taken shopping. This is a list of values which includes a bread and milk, 2 values are there. So now I can pass this shopping as a parameter to the print function. Now it prints bread and milk. It prints bread and milk like this. So this is how you can use the print function for complex objects or complex containers or variables like this, or simple direct values like this. So in such a way you can use the print function. This print function is used to print the output or console. Console means a screen, so where we can see the output or where we can enter the input. That screen we can call it as a console, or it is fully terminally to say it is a terminal where we can enter input or where we can see the output. That is called the console. So on the console, to print any value, we can use print function. Print function can accept strings, integers, and a combination of both strings and integers. That is a concatenation of both strings and integers, and then data containers, complex containers, simple containers, and it also accepts arithmetic operations directly. So all these things can be possible with the print function. Okay. Next, we'll move on to the input. So input from console. For giving the input from console, I already told about the console. Console is a terminal where we can enter input or where we can see the output. So that is the console. So if you want to enter input from the console, we can use the input function. Input function is available in Python. So these input or output, these two functions are inbuilt functions. They come with the Python. We can use directly them in our programming for taking the input and for giving the output. So input is the function here for input purpose. This is how we can use the input function. This is the syntax of the input function. Syntax of the input. What are there in the syntax? Yes is there. An input. In the parenthesis, prompt is there. You need to understand these things properly. So prompt is a message or a string or a sentence which is used to print some message on the console for user friendliness. For user friendliness, it means what user has to do. Suppose if I have done a program and I am executing, I know what to enter at the screen. By using the keyboard, I know what to enter. Whether I have to enter as numbers or whether I have to enter a string or whether I have to enter a combination of both the strings and whatever. I know. If somebody is executing my program, they may know or may not know. In such cases, we need to provide a message to the user-friendly message to the user, what user has to do in that step. For that purpose, we use this prompt. For example, we are taking a username as an input. In that case, at this position of the prompt, you need to give the message input, enter username, like that. So on console, it prints enter username. Now, the user who are executing that program, he can understand that, oh, I have to enter username as an input, so that he can enter the username. Like that, for interactivity with the user and user, and for better understanding how to enter the input, for that purpose, we use this prompt string or a prompt sentence. That is about the prompt. We need to give this prompt string either in single quotes or in double quotes. Okay, and then this input function returns a string. This input function returns a string. Even though you entered numbers as an input, this function returns a string. That string will be stored in this variable called s. So, for example, I have given a variable name or a container name s here, but that is not s. That input function returns a string. So, even though you entered a number, it returns a string. To store that string, we need a variable. That is the variable, this one, for return value. So, this is about the syntax of the input. Input, prompt message, and whatever the input you have entered, that input will be converted into a string and that string will be stored in variable. So this is the syntax of the input. See, here I am executing the input function. Name equal to input, enter your name. This is the prompt string, enter your name. So the user who are using this program, now after executing, they can understand very easily what they have to do now. So based on this string, they can enter the name. Okay, like this, they can enter the name. Not only single parameter, we can also enter multiple values. See here, receive first name, middle name, last name, first name, m name, s name equal to input, enter full name equal to split. Split function I will explain later. You enter full name. When you enter the full name, that full name will be split into, if there are 3 parts, it's split into 3 parts. Otherwise, it's split into 2 parts and it saves in appropriate location. First name, next middle name and surname. Like that, it splits automatically and it stores those values into these variables. Okay. Here, I already told that input function returns the string. For storing that string, we use here name variable. So after entering the name, that name will be stored in variable name. Here we are entering multiple values. So and we are splitting those we are splitting that single string into multiple values by using the split function. And those multiple values will be stored in multiple variables: f name, m name, and s name. Like this, we can store. Okay, this is also possible with the input. See here, n1 comma n2 comma n3 equal to input of enter three values, and using the split function splits whatever the string or whatever the values you entered. It splits each and into individual values or individual strings. Like that, it splits. So here I'm entering three values. Those three values will be stored in three variables: n1 comma n2 comma n3. So as we know that input function returns a string, that's what we are converting here, the string into integer. Because I have entered here integer values, so I'm converting those integer values into integer type by using the typecasting operator. So this is the typecasting operator: data type and object. So what are the object you passed here? That object will be converted into this data type, whatever the data type you mentioned here. In this case, see, I'm passing here int of n1. So here n1 is a string because input function always returns a string. So this n1 is a string, and this n1 is converting into integer type, and it is again stored into n1. And int n2 is a string type, and because of this conversion function, though this n1 is converted into integer type and again stored into n2. And n3 is again here a string, and this is converted into integer because of this function, and n3 is stored into n3. Like that we can use. Now I am printing n1 plus 2, n2 plus 20, n3 plus 30. So because they converted into integers, that's why I'm able to perform arithmetic operations on those numbers. Okay, this is how we can use the number input function. So the same thing, whatever we have done here in the three statements, we can perform in a single statement also by using the list comprehension. So there is a concept called list comprehension. When you are reading a list of values or a dictionary of values, in such cases you can use this list comprehension method. In this method, you can enter multiple inputs, and you can split them by using the split. So while entering itself, we can use the for loop. See here, int of n, directly we are converting n into in. For n, in input, enter three values. Okay, this is called the list comprehension. So you no need to convert again here like this. So here we've written three lines of code. For first line is for inputting, and second line is for converting, and the third line is for performing the operations. Okay, this is common in both the cases. You leave it, and when instead of writing two statements within a single statement, we can achieve the same result here also. Int of n for n in input. If here we are looping n number of values, n times we are looping, and each and every time we are converting those n into integers, and we are assigning those values, say here n1, n2, n3, and now we are performing arithmetic operations because those are numbers now. Okay, so like that we can use. I will execute and show you the examples also. The expression enclosed in square brackets is called list comprehension. So list comprehension you have to use like this. In brackets you have to enter all this. This is the syntax for the list comprehension. Int of n for n in input, enter three values like that. How many values you want, you can specify like this here. And split function. So this input returns a string, and that string will be each and every value in that list is converted into integer, and then those values will be assigned to the respective variables, in the order, same order, and next we can perform any arithmetic operations on those numbers. So that is how we can use the list comprehension. See here another one, numbers int of n for n input, enter values split, for x in numbers, print x plus 10. Here I am using for loop for printing and performing the operations. For example, here I enter 1, 2, 3, 4 like this as an input. Okay, this 1, 2, 3, 4 is converted as an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, number array as 1, 2, 3, 4. Initially 1, 2, 3, 4 is a string. When I entered, so this input function returns a string. This is a string, 1, 2, 3, 4 is a string. And then because of this int of n and because of these numbers, so I'm using only single variable here and multiple values are there, converting into integer. In such a case, it converts as an array. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 numbers in an array. So now for printing this array, I'm using a for loop for x in numbers. Numbers is an array name. Numbers is an array name. For x in numbers, x means x indicates the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3. For x in numbers means initially it starts from 0. For 0 in numbers, print x plus 10. What is there at 0? 1 is there. 1 plus 10 equal to 11. And next 2 plus 10 equal to 12. Next 3 plus 10 equal to 13. 4 plus 10 equal to 14. Like that it prints. That is how this these statements executes. And then input can be used to receive different types of values at a time. So not only strings or numbers as input, we can also enter different values. See here. So data equal to input, enter name, age, salary, and then split function. So here I am entering a name. Name is nothing but either string or a combination of the strings. Age is a number. Salary is a fraction point. Fraction floating value. Float value is there. Integer value is there. String is there. I am entering 3 different values. 3 different kinds of data as a parameters to the input function, and splitting those into 3 values and storing into data. So now this we can print name equal to data of 0, age equal to int of data of 1, salary equal to float of data, because this int function returns a string. So whatever, suppose I enter like this, Ramesh, for example, Ramesh 40, salary is 55,250, like this, 2.50. Like this I enter. The entire string, so it written as a string, input function written as a string, all these things. By splitting, so it stores in data like this, Ramesh, and then 40, and then 55,000.250. This is the data here, in this case, okay. Now these are the strings. It is a string array, for example, okay. Now, in this first statement, is 0, 2, 3. These are the indexes to refer the particular value. If you want to Ramesh, data of 0. If you want to age, data of 1. If you want to salary, data of 2, like that. So I'm taking data of 0, so into the name. So name is a string. That's why I'm not using any conversion here. Directly I'm taking, because name is string. So this input function returns in strings. Ramesh is a string. That's why I'm not converting it to a string or like that. So directly I'm assigning. But in the case of age, I'm converting it into integer. So by using the typecasting operator. So is that data type integer. Data of 1 means 40. This 40, initially it is in the format of a string. When I use it, this typecasting function, int data of 1, now this 40 is converted into integer and stored in the age. And next, if you take the salary, this data of 2, it means 55,250. Initially it's stored as a string, and when I am using this typecasting function float data of 2, Now it converts into a float type and that's stored in the salary. That is how we can input multiple values, multiple different data types values as input to the input function, and we can separate them and we can store them into required variables and we can perform the required operations. So that is how we can take input and output. Summary points to remember regarding input and output. We can use the input function to receive input from the console. We can store the input into data container to easily work with the data. We can use the print function to output text to the console. When we output text, we have to wrap the words or sentences in either single or double quotes. We can use anything. We have seen examples also for those things. We can do arithmetic directly inside the functions, parentheses. I have already given examples for that. Numbers do not need to wrap it inside quotations. For printing numbers, no need of any quotations. Simple and easy way to concatenate text and numbers by separating them with commas between the functions parentheses. So we can concatenate both the strings and numbers for printing. That is also possible. You can store data in data containers like variables and use them to output the stored values. All these things we have seen with examples. Okay. And next, formatted printing. So this is one of the most important topic. Before going to this formatted printing, now we will execute simple example programs, and then we will go to. So I increased the size of the font on the console. This is called the console. Here we can type our programs and we can see the output. So for simple statements, simple single line or two line codes in Python, we can directly execute at command prompt and we can observe the output, or we can provide the input and we can again see the input and all those things. You can see the output and all those things. So for because of the simple programs here, I'm using this command prompt. So to open this command prompt, we can see like this. We can open this command prompt. I'll show you how to open. Here in the search, you can type CMD. Now it is opening here. Based on your requirement, you can adjust it. Okay. And here you type Python. If Python is installed in your system, so this is how it shows the command prompt in 3 greater than symbols. So Python version 3.10 is installed here and all those things. It shows like this. Here you can directly see I'm executing a simple program, Python, printing my name here. My name is Sudhakar Aeronautical. So I'm printing here. It prints my name is Sudhakar Aeronautical. So here the sentence I enclosed in double quotes. The same function I can also use single quotes. That's how we discussed so far. My name is Sudhakar Aeronautical. In both the cases, it is working. It is printing my name is Sudhakar Aeronautical here also. In first function, I used double quotes. In second, I used single quotes. So whether single quotes or double quotes, you can use anything. Suppose if you want to print numbers, print directly. You can pass the numbers. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. It prints like this, but it is a 1, 2, 3, 4 is appearing, but it's not a number as of now. It is a string because print function prints directly as it is. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 now. It is printing like this. Okay. If you want to print strings or see fraction value, float value, it is printing. For numbers, for floating values, all these things you no need to enclose in between quotes. But for strings, it is required. Now we can also perform arithmetic operations. 1 plus 3 directly, so it prints 4. We can also print all arithmetic operations. 2 star 5, so it prints 10. So print 10 divided by 2, prints 5.0. Like this, you can perform all the arithmetic operations. But see here, now it gives an error. Why? What is being traced back? Most recent call cost STDN. Name print is not defined. Why it is giving the error? Here I have used a capital P. In print, I use a capital P. This is a case sensitive. Python is a case sensitive. You cannot, especially in the case of functions, whatever the case they have used, you have to use with the same case. In print function, all the letters are small letters. You have to use in the same way. You cannot use capital letters and all like that. See here, I use a capital P for the print function, so it's giving an error. The same thing is executing now clearly. See, like this. You cannot use print. You cannot use those functions, predefined functions or whatever, how they have given in the same way you have to use. You cannot change capital letters or small letters like that. You cannot change. This is another example for such things. Okay. And now we will see some of the examples, whatever we have seen during theory. Okay. So print A comma B comma C comma separator equal to comma end equal to. So syntax error. Now we will A equal to 5, B equal to 6, C equal to 7, and then print A comma B comma C comma SCP equal to comma and equal to. Okay. We'll observe a few things here. Okay, we'll see another example. This is how you can print these values. This is all we have seen. Sorry. Actually, it was printing in my system. Here it is not working. See, this is how it prints now. A small mistake was there. 4 comma 6 comma 7, because I assigned A equal to 4, B equal to 6, and C equal to 7. So now it is printing 4 comma 6 comma 7 and exclamation symbol, and then we can see the cursor now where it is blinking immediately to the output. But generally, if you print, if you use the print function, print like this, a comma b comma c, without passing any of these things, it prints. The cursor is gone to the next line. If you see 4 comma 6 comma 7, after printing 4 comma 6 comma 7, and the cursor is on to the next line. Now it is printing here. Now it is printing here. But in this case, see, it is printing there because by default, this is the default case. Print a comma b comma c. This is the default case. By default, it takes here c backslash n. It takes as an argument for the end of the line. At the end of the line, backslash means it comes to the next line. So that's why in this case 4 comma 6 comma 7. After printing this, end of the line is backslash n. That's why next this cursor moves to the next line and it displays here to enter the next instruction. But in this case, so it is not the end of the line. That's why it is printing in the same line. The cursor is blinking in the same line for taking the next input or a next instruction. So that is the difference you can see. Okay. So here if you see, by default a comma b comma c I am printing it without having any comma or any other symbol. With a simple space it is printing 4 comma 6 comma 7. But in this example, a comma b comma c, separator comma, I use the separator comma. That's why this output prints like this 4 comma 6 comma 7. Suppose if you change the separator, removing this one and keeping 3 lines as the separators, now we will see. See, 4 3 lines, 6 3 lines, 7. Like that it prints. Okay, that is how you can use the print function. And we will see some more examples. We have seen all these things, arithmetic operations performed. Okay. Yeah. Now we will see the concatenation of the both strings and the numbers. Print. Okay. Print the answer to the ultimate question of life is 42. Now enter. See how it is printing. The answer to the ultimate question of life is 42. That is how we can concatenate strings and numbers. Okay. And next we will see some more examples. Containers. Regarding containers, we will see. See MSG, for example, here. MSG is a variable, and in this I am storing hello world. Now I am printing it. Print MSG. I am passing MSG. It prints hello world. While passing variables, even though whether it is string or number, it doesn't matter. You no need to enclose the names of the containers or variables in double quotes or single quotes. It is not required because these are the containers. We can pass directly containers. See here, message MSG hello world. I am not enclosed this MSG in either single quotes or double quotes. Don't confuse. So while passing containers or variables as a parameter to the print function, we no need to enclose them in either double or single quotes. We can directly pass them. Okay. Now I am also another number 1 equal to 10, number 2 equal to 20. Now I'm printing print. I'm performing arithmetic operations by using containers or variables. Number 3. So maybe spelling mistake. Yeah, number only. Okay, sorry. See 30. It prints 30 here because I am using here a number 1, 10, number equal to 20. But in this case, I have entered number 1 plus number 2 here. Here, number 1 plus number 2. But number 2 is not defined. That's why here it is showing name number 2 is not defined. Did you mean number 1? It is asking us. So, while doing the mistakes also, we can learn the subject. That's why I'm directly executing here, showing you if you've done any mistake, how it shows the error message to you. Based on the error message, you can understand what mistake you have done and you can again rectify it. Here, I declared number 1 equal to 10 and number equal to 20, but while passing these containers or variables into print function, I wrongly entered here number 1 plus number 2. So number 2 is not declared here. That's why it is showing the name error. Number 2 is not defined. So it is showing it. So now I rectified that one. And again I pass number 1 plus number. Then it prints 20 because 10 plus 20 equal to 30. It is printing like that. We'll see another one. Another example. Shopping equal to double quotes bread milk. This is my object, complex object. Now I am printing that one. Print shopping. See, bread and milk is printing here. Okay. So that is how we can use for print for complex objects also. Next, we'll move on to next slide. Now we will see some input functions and examples for this input. So name equal to input of this is the prompting. Enter your name. Okay, just the prompting purpose. So this is how it asks. Enter your. Now user can understand what to enter there. So I am entering my name. Okay. See, I entered my. Now I will print my name here. Print name. See, it prints when not is Sudhakar. Suppose if that prompt message is not there, for example, take like this. Name equal to input. It comes like this. So if I am the programmer, I know what to enter here. If some other are using this program, what they can understand, what they can do here, whether they have to enter name or what they cannot understand. So that's why we have to give these prompting messages. Okay. In this case also it works, but prompt message is very, very important. The user can easily understand what to do with the prompt messages. That is the importance of the prompt message. And then now we will see that f name, comma, m name, comma, surname. So 3 variables I declared, and I am taking input from the keyboard by using input function. Enter your full name. Okay. Now splitting. How this split works? The split works based on the separator. So by default separator space, based on the space, it is split the entire sentence into individual strings. Okay, generally in our full name, we have 3 parts. Full name, that is the first name, middle name, and the surname. Like that, we have 3 parts. So most of the people we have. Because of that, I am entering like this now. Okay. Now it is asking me A naught E. I am entering A naught E. Sorry. No. A naught E. Sudhakar. A naught E. For example, I am not having. Now enter this. See, now I am printing first name, print F name. Okay, it prints Sudhakar. Print M name. It prints Venati. Print S name. It prints PSR. Like that, each and every variable, F name, M name, and S name have values. This Sudhakar Venati VSR is split into 3 different strings based on the spaces between those strings. The split function split the entire sentence into strings, and those values will be stored into corresponding values. The order is important. See, first the first value, the first string Sudhakar, that is stored in F name. The second parameter Venati, that string is stored in middle name, and the last one is stored in S name. In the same order it stores. Okay, now we will see another one. Number 1, comma, number 2, comma, number 3 equal to input of enter 3 values. Split. Okay. Now print number 1. Print number 1. See. Print number 2. See. Print number 3. See. This is how you can take. But you cannot perform here. See. We will see another example. Number 1 plus number 2, 12. What is number 1? Number 1 is 1. Number 2 is 2. Number 1 plus number 2 is 3, but it is printing 12. What happened here? Number 1 and number 2 are strings because input returns string. Number 1 and number 2 are strings. The plus between strings, it performs a concatenation operation. Concatenation means the first string is the first string and the second string both are combinedly shown as together as a single string. That's why number 1, 1, number 2, 2, 1, 2 is showing here. So if you want to use them as numbers, you need to convert them into numbers. For that we have a typecasting here. Int number 1. Okay. Next, int number 2. Next, int number 3. Now we will perform print num1 plus num2. Oh, still it is taking like that. A second. So we'll take into another variables because we haven't taken here into another because it returns. So we need to take n1, comma n2, comma n3 equal to int of number 1, okay, comma int of number 2, int of number 3. Okay. Now we will use n1, n2, n3. n1 plus n2. Okay, now it prints 3. So what was the mistake here? I converted and it is printing as an integer. But number 1 does not change. Number 1 is as a string it is. So this function int number 1 returns an integer. We need to take that integer into another variable. That is the mistake I have done here. Int number 1. Directly I am using int number 1 and it is printing integer. No doubt in it. Okay. But I am not storing that value into any other variable. So because of that, when I executed here print number 1 plus number 2, again it concatenated number 1 and number 2 because number 1 and number 2 are strings only. Those are not converted into another numbers. But int number 1, it returns means it gives an integer value. We need to store that integer value into another variable or even in the same variable also we can store. So here what I have done, n1, n2, n3, three different variables I have taken and converted, and these values will be stored in these variables. Now when I am using n1 plus n2, now it is giving 3 because n1 is 1, n2 is 2, n1 plus n2 is 3. So you no need to use a different variables. You can also use the same variables. See here, another example, n1 comma, n2 comma, but you need to store the values somewhere. So without storing, values will not change. Okay. Now I will print number 1 comma number 2. N1 plus and see, now it is done 3. It is printing 3. But here it prints 12. Because at the time number 1, number 2 are strings only, even though I converted, but I haven't stored them. I didn't store them in another variable or in the same variable. Just I converted and it's printing here. So now here see, it is working properly. That is how you can work with the integer input and output functions. Now we will go with the formatted input and output. Thank you for today.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.